It is my honor to introduce our new Chancellor, Dr. Tammeil Gilkerson. Dr. Gilkerson most recently served as the President of Evergreen Valley College in San Jose, where she began her tenure in 2020. Previously, she served as the President of Laney College from 2017 to 2020. In addition to her roles at Evergreen Valley and Laney, Dr. Gilkerson also acted as Vice President of Academic and Student Affairs at Contra Costa College and as the inaugural Diversity, Inclusion, and Innovation Officer for the Contra Costa Community College District. Her contributions extend to positions as Vice President of Academic Affairs at San Jose City College and Dean of Counseling and Matriculation at Evergreen Valley College. Her journey began as a faculty member in psychology counseling at Chabot College. I had the privilege of knowing Tammeil when she was here at Laney, and all I have to say is we are so very lucky to have you back. Thank you. Welcome.
So first of all, let's just give it up, first of all, for the College of Alameda Dancers. I mean, like, sensational. I wish we had coordinated, because I had on 20 outfits today, this morning. And I actually have an owl die, of several owl dies that were gifted to me. There's a large Vietnamese community in San Jose. And so I had the pleasure of having some brought back for me from Vietnam. And I've actually worn them at times. And that was like one of the choice options when I was like, this doesn't fit, this doesn't fit, this doesn't look Chancellor enough. Oh my gosh, what are they gonna think? Right? So this is what she landed on, and actually had this on first and took it off and then put on 20 other outfits, and my house is a mess. And I will send you a picture of my house being a mess so that you know that I'm actually not putting on airs at all. Are we online? Okay, so you all are ridiculously tech savvy. So if you could scan this QR code with your phones, and it's gonna come up here soon on the presentation, right here. And then my colleagues in the back are, gotta put it back up. Okay. Everybody, people in? No? Got it? Okay, I think, can you start it for me? You have to do it from up there, because I put it in presentation mode. So we're gonna flip, there we go. Presenter mode. I love technology. You all use this in your classroom? All right, so first to answer the question, where do you primarily work? We got a big Laney contingent here, obviously. But, okay, they're pumping up. Let's go. Come on. And online, I want to just say hello to those of us who are joining us in the Zoom community. I'm so pleased to hopefully see you at some point. I know it's difficult to get here. But, okay, this is who we got in the room today. And let me just give a little shout out to our District Service Center team for making the trek over, all right, to come and join. They were like, ooh, the new boss is talking. We better come on over. So, all right. So we got more going up. So lots of love. You can see what we got. We're going to go to the next question, just so I have a sense. So what part of the team do you play? What part do you play on the team? So go ahead and answer this question for me. What does that mean? So are you a classified professional, a part-time classified professional, adjunct faculty, tenure track, or other? Oh, admin, I don't know where admin fell off. I apologize. I feel really bad because that's terrible. I apologize. I'm gonna do Tammeil was doing this at, I think this was probably at 1 in the morning, this part. So I apologize for that. So get a sense of who's in the audience. Okay, we'll go to the next question. How many of you years have you worked in the district? Woo! Look, those 20-year veterans were sure on Mentimeter pretty quick. Do you see that? They were like, boop, boop, boop. All right. Okay. So good smattering here, we can see. Yeah. So this mid, welcome to the 0 to 3s. Hey. Hey, hang in there. And look at though. I got this. Got this big, this is good. This is good. I'm feeling good about who's in the space. All right, next question. Y'all like it? Which Rihanna mood are you today joining me in this space? Tell me what Riri you are. Come on now. So for those of you who don't know pop culture, Rihanna has lots of faces. And so we use this often in classes with students, right? Just temperature check. Tell me how you coming into the space today. So are we a B? How many of us are B? Okay, I got some B's in the room. Okay, A's, feeling good. Oh, look at the F's, the smile, the side smile. Okay, I love it. Okay, so we're generating some good positive vibes. All right, next question. Would you have rather spent a weekend in a tropical paradise or a snow haven? You know, a little fun. Tropical paradise, snow haven. Oh my gosh. We are like serious Californians. We are despising global warming, I just want to say right now, because the weather has changed drastically in our area, right? I want to thank Mark. It's not just other places, it's here. So, okay, tropical paradise. All right, planning our next trip. Okay, next question is, would you rather always be 2 hours early or 20 minutes late? I mean, this is some legit question, because I grew up in a family that, like, if you were on time, you were late. And my father would be standing, waiting like 30 plus minutes ahead. And now I am perpetually just stressed getting to every single meeting because I just can feel him behind me. All right, so, okay, we got 2 hours early is the big winner. Okay, all right. So I'll see you all on time at our meetings. I'm excited. When I show up late, just know. Okay, next question. Would you rather have every traffic light turn green or always have the best parking spot? I see some of you. I know some of you do not walk. You're like driving around in circles, trying to get as close as possible, not trying to be, I know how y'all are, some of you. Let's see, where we got? Yep, see? Why do I know this crew? Just like, really? At Costco, I have to walk all the way from the back? Yes, you do. Okay, best parking spot crew. I feel you. Okay, we have to think about this. Next question. What is your superpower? I need to know. We need to just put this on blast, collect it, so we have. I wish you had names next to it so I could call on you when I need it. All right. Ooh, math data, mind reading. Holy crud, do you know what I'm thinking right now? Reading people. Oh, being a mom. Do you love this? Empathy, honesty, finding things. Oh my gosh, I could have used you. Snarky humor. You always got to have one of those. You always got to have one of those in the crew, a snarky humor. Organization, super speed, an empath. So a lot of like healing genuineness. I love this, right? I love our word class. Patience. Hey, this is from those who are like the 20, the 5 on the other end of the number of years in the district, right? The patience gets bigger. Empathy, organization, humility, compassion. I love this. Good heart, reading people, authenticity, justice, leader, empowering, smelling. Somebody said smelling up there. I'm just throwing it out. It's kind of interesting. Okay, superpower smell. Very cool. I'm enjoying this. Okay, let's go to the next one. What do you enjoy most about your job? We're staying in the appreciative inquiry. What do you enjoy most about your job? Social interactions, my the people, gente, leadership, powering, payday, what's up? Yes. The query, the minded people, professional colleagues, problem solving, students lighting up. Oh, I'm feeling that love, making a difference, progress, creativity, financial aid. Yes. Thank you, Tammeil Gilkerson, full financial aid. Worked in the financial aid office as a student worker. That's where I got my start. Ain't nobody paying for it. Oh, does that say my name? Oh, Tammeil, that was very sweet, whoever wrote that. Social justice, Laney, money, purpose, socializing. Students get confidence, supporting second chances, supporting first chances. My coworkers. All right, a lot of good stuff there, huh? All right, next question. What motivates you to do this work? It's a different question, right? What motivates you to do the work? Students, boredom. Okay, good leaders, my children, passion for teaching. My community, my experiences as a student, good leaders, money, salary, absolutely. Gotta feed the family. Desire for change, colleagues, colegas, familia, the solution, passion, hope, legacy. I'm feeling that legacy. Talk about it today. Joy, giving back, people, pray, music, making a change, professional development, facilitating change, advancing equity. If this isn't a Peralta Community College District word cloud, do you know what I mean? This is something to be proud of. Love this. All right, this one's gonna be our next question. What makes our district great? What makes our district great? The people. See, we're seeing something. People. The best, the workers, diversity. I love that, diversity. Our local community, dedicated faculty, colleagues, location. Absolutely. Commitment to people, our spirit. Serving students, the vision, communication, achievement, the areas we serve. So we see some pieces here. Small scale, resiliency, grassroots action, unity, responding to the need. Love that. All right, we're gonna move to the next question. What makes our district frustrating? I just wanna offer to let's keep it collegial. That's all I wanna say, right? What makes our, this is funny, right? I knew this was gonna happen. Other people, slackers, negotiate, nothing. Oh, I love that, nothing. Outdated process, lack of response, lazy workers, community violence, leadership, bureaucracy, we're broke. Our systems, slow to change, accounts payable, lack of communication, lack of written processes, things move too slow. Lack of transparency, turnover, security, not paying people on time, fiscal, disrespect, dysfunction, outdated, elevators. I feel you. I know that was pain point, but I gotta just read what's on the thing, right? And y'all don't act like I didn't walk up and down those stairs for years, so come on now. Let's not get it, all right? Okay. This is important, right? This part is important for us to elevate and look at, and we're seeing some synergy with some of the things that folks have said, both on the positive attributes, but also the things that are frustrating. I feel you. I've been hearing it, and I've only been on the job 11 days. And I feel you. All right, next. What helps you thrive in your role? I want to know what helps you thrive in your role. Great leadership, money, funding, support, family, coworkers and boss, confidence, Great leadership, student success, the challenge motivates folks. Absolutely. I love that. I'm with you. Being heard. Being heard. Communication, coworkers, my colleagues, honest feedback. Faith. Faith. Pride of accomplishment. Look at this. All right. Okay, we're going to roll to the next one. Support at the middle. Collaboration. Where do you find inspiration? It's kind of the same question. I kind of was redundant. Sorry. Again, doing it. But it's good. We could stay on it. Oh, my daughter. Church. Good. Students. Students in front of my, I love this. Familia, student stories. Within myself. Yes. Hope. Nature. Peralta. Passion for my career, my financial stability, professional development. Accomplishments. Steph Curry. Okay. Let's go. Okay. All right, Steph. He ain't doing too shabby. He's all right. Okay. People with integrity, called to a mission, the Bible, mountains, getting things done. All right. Next question. What piece of advice would you give to your 16-year-old self? So this you get to write in. Calling through Jesus Cristo already, huh? Never give up. Study. Self-care is essential. Stay in school. Live life brilliantly. Oh my gosh. Chill. Absolutely. Right? I love this. Stay in school. You're staying at Laney. I like that one. That made me laugh. Okay. Work hard, play hard, hang in there, stay positive. Okay. Never give up. All right. Thanks for playing along. Was it good? Good sense of, all right. So I'm going to switch to my slides. So my name is Tammeil, for those of you who haven't had the pleasure of meeting yet. This is, here, wait, I'll go back one. But that's me. So I wanted to tell you something about me. So I've been nervous, like really nervous about talking to you all. So if you see me eating a salad, I swear, in a restaurant, I have literally been kidnapped, and I'm sending you a signal. So, like, call on somebody, okay? Just want to, somebody's like, they want to know fun facts about you. I'm like, that. I mean, if I'm eating a salad with a lot of other things, so pay attention for a little while, because sometimes I'll do that as a multiple course. But that's just a little something about me. But I have been pretty, how do I do it? Like up here? Oh, so some of you, if you read The Citizen, and I got some really nice notes from folks who are anybody here, West Wingers? What's next? Yep, absolutely. So I just want to stay home and watch The West Wing. Those of you who know what I'm talking about will understand. There's something about West Wing civic duty, what it means to work in teams, tough problems, but you kind of like get it done. You're still doing it, right? It's this sense of like the greater good, and it speaks to me in a lot of ways. But I'll be honest, I was nervous, right? Because when you go through a really public process to become a chancellor, people are doing everything, right? They're scrutinizing you, and everybody's got a dog in the fight, right? I want this person, I want that person, I want that person. So you come in already feeling a little unsteady. And I don't know a lot of you, so I was like, I should take a minute to talk a little bit about myself so that you can get to know me a little better and know a little bit about who I am. And we're going to have a long relationship. So the idea here is that I'm not going to do it all today, but I want to give you some key points so that you have a sense of who I am and how I try to show up in those things. And the other day, a colleague came into the office late and was like, oh, they wanted the other candidate, but I was going for you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this speaks to the very core of like what is very hard for me is I don't stand in judgment of anybody. These jobs are difficult, hard, life-changing jobs. And I'm proud to have been in community with folks who wanted to come and work in this district, period. So there's no, for me, anything about anybody who went for the job or didn't get it, or that I'm standing here now. I feel camaraderie with folks who said, I want to raise my hand and work in a district that I believe deserves excellent leadership. And I'm really grateful to the Board of Trustees, and I know Trustee Gonzalez-Wynn's here today. I don't know if other trustees are here. You may be watching online, but I just want to also say how grateful I am to the board for selecting me and trusting me with this opportunity. So my story kind of starts like this, and I feel like I'm an immigrant. This is my passport photo, and this is, I think of my beginning of my story and my journey as an airplane. If people ask me to write my life journey, I draw an airplane. That is that story, and you can see here on the left, some dude carrying me out. So I was on a transport all the way from Korea. I rode on this man's lap 4 hours, and I didn't bring the doll in. Actually, Tina saw it in the back of my car, and my son was like, what are you doing? What are you going to do with the doll? So my mother kept, so I'll tell you in a minute. So this is pictures of me at the orphanage that I was in Korea. And I saw these after the fact. So that's why I'm saying my story starts with sort of the story I was told. But these are the pictures in the baby book that my parents kept. So you can see me. It's like little Asian hair. Look at that, going straight up. But you can see August 31, 1976 at our agency office in Korea. My father was in the Navy. He was stationed in Taiwan, and my parents were high school sweethearts. So my dad was born here in Oakland. They went to school in San Leandro. I mean, I grew up just stone's throw from here. My dad worked in the produce industry, so he delivered produce. You know, he was home during the day because he was on the graveyard ship, you know, doing produce when I was growing up. And I'd walk the streets of Oakland down there with him, eating pieces of fruit and doing those things. And then he eventually went on to do some other things. But when he graduated from high school, they got married right after. They were high school sweethearts. They went to the prom together. And I didn't put it in here. My mom would be like, what are you doing? But her prom picture is pretty hot. So, but this is my parents the day they got me. They drove down to Los Angeles, where I was flying in, and this is the first moment that I met them. And it's so funny, because my mom will tell me the story that they almost gave me to somebody else, but the courier had a name tag, and they're like, no, that's our baby, not that one over there. I don't know if they won the lotto or what happened, but you know, this is it. But what I was saying is this outfit right here that I'm wearing, my mother has a doll. I'll send you a picture. A doll with all of these clothes on. She has kept it. I have it now. It was at my house. She hung it on the wall in my bedroom, and it was like kind of leaning over me when I was little. But it was the sense that, right, like she wanted me to know that she cared where I came from. And I was wearing layers and layers and layers of clothes. So this sweater, which is kind of quite stylish, I have to say. But the top part you can't see is like this pink with like puffy jacket with, you know, matching pants and cute buttons. And so these are my parents, Al and Paulette Gilkerson. And let's see. So I wanted to, this is my family. That's my brother, Albion. Alan, which is my dad's and mom's biological son and oldest in our family. And my brother Keith is next to him. Then you see my mom and my dad there. My brother Davion in the San Francisco hat, he goes by the name Bubba. We call him Bubba. And then next to him is my brother Nathaniel. And then my sister Alicia is right there in front of Bubba, next to my mom. My sister Janae is right next to me, and there I am. I'm one of 7 children. 5 of us are adopted. And this is the family that I grew up in. And it contextualizes a lot of how I see myself, how I see the world, how I grew up, and is a sense of sort of the story that I want to make sure that I'm talking to you about today. So this is a picture. I'm going to read it to you. This is actually the essay I wrote when I wrote to get into college. And I found it 2 nights ago underneath this thing. And I think it actually typifies, it was surprising, I'll just say, and I'll tell you what my daughter said afterwards. So I'll read you portions of it. So sorry, I have to. I am a book that has often been judged by its cover. During the last 17 years, and okay, I'm writing this at 17 too? Wow, okay. I have tried to fill the pages of my book of life with something deeper than first impressions and easy judgments. Through a strong family, tremendous struggle, and inner determination, those pages are filled with things that have molded me into what I am and will strengthen what I become. I am adopted Korean, living in a house of diversity and love. Growing up, I lived with my adoptive parents and 2 older brothers that are all Caucasian. It was never a secret to me that I was adopted, and I never had much of a problem with being an abandoned orphan and not knowing my natural parents or my real birthday. I'm very well adjusted and trusting. I just, side note, caveat, reading this later on, I'm like, somebody really helped send, I clearly didn't know at my 17, that's why I asked you the question, what's your advice to your 16-year-old self? I don't know that I was super well adjusted, but, I'm like, okay, all right. They, trying to get into college, so. The last 4 years, we've opened our home to drug-addicted and medically fragile foster babies. There have been 29 babies, all wonderful and innocent in their own way. This last year, we had added into our family with a little 2-year-old boy and girl, both Black. Bubba is now my little brother, and Alicia will soon be my little sister, too. People often call us the Rainbow Family. There is a special bond between all of us in my family. It is not initiated by blood, but by love and respect. This is where most of the love on the pages of my book originates. During my sophomore year in high school, my naivete and unquestioning trust led me into a problem not even my parents' love could conquer and hide. I was raped, both physically and mentally. It opened my mind to the harshness of people and the politics of government. All of my unquestioning trust was gone. Masking myself from my own feelings, I fled through my sophomore year in a blur of faces and tears. Even though to almost everybody I looked like I was coping or nothing was wrong, they were wrong. I began to question everything about myself, my adoption, family, church, friends. I had lost my secure identity. School is where I began to thrive. I threw myself into everything: singing, swimming, student government, cheerleading, and more. It was as if I was trying to find my place in life. Though I thought about college and my once held dreams to go away, they seemed to be slipping away. When I would get home from school to do my homework and study, I began to think about things I was too busy to worry about at school. It was like playing 2 different roles. Not until the end of my junior year did I realize that I am who I make. I did not realize I make who I am. Not the mother who abandoned me, or the loving family I have now, not the struggles, friends, teachers, and all of the opinions and ideas about me. They all contributed to the pages of ideas and experiences in my book. But I realized that I am the one who determines my future and my present state of mind. Through all of my struggles to keep my head above water, I found that what a strong person I have become. Looking back, I have begun to understand that during those last couple years, I was smarter than I thought, even though my grades weren't everything I hoped they could be. They weren't bad. I had actually stayed with a lot of things. I remained active in the partnership program and attended the pre-college academy at UC Berkeley. Thank you, TRIO programs. Thank you, affirmative action. My extracurricular activities kept me healthy and active in school, and they will be my most treasured memories when I walk the stage at graduation. The pages of my book are based on love and splattered with pain and hardships. It is brightened by my education and activities with pages still left to fill. I am determined to go to college and continue my education. I dream of making the government and the world we live in far less judgmental and quick to decide and more based on love and respect. I see rising turmoil in the town that I live in. It is racism, gangs, acts of ignorance that are taking over my community and my friends. I want to be an example to my peers and to give a little faith to the older generation. I plan on coming back here, hopefully with a solution, but at least with something and some way of helping my brothers and sisters. I want to use my education from school and life to make the pages of my book far more than its cover. I didn't realize when I read it the other night how indelible sort of you are at a certain page, and it's like that. My daughter read it and she was like, "And you did it." Thanks to affirmative action, an essay, the pre-college academy, TRIO programs, all those early academic programs that we know we do in our colleges, the dual enrollment, all of those things allowed me to go to UC Berkeley. This is graduation day from UC Berkeley. Dad has a little tear in his eye. First and only person in my family still to have graduated from college. And I think my dad's crying a little bit because I majored in history, so he was unsure I'd be gainfully employed going on. But, you know, really, ultimately, there was so much pride, right, in that moment for him. And this sits on my desk. It reminds me of what it is that we're about. And Cal did something to me, right? Like, first of all, I was never seen so many Asian people in my entire life. I went to school and I was like, oh my gosh. And to be honest, it was the first time in my life I was actually othered. And we know what othering is, right? I had lived in a community, right, where I kind of was othered all the time in the sense that people were like, what are you? Where are you from? Oh, you don't speak Korean. What's wrong with you? Oh my God, right? But I think I just kind of lived in this land of like, oh, it's okay because my family looks, you know, like we were just, this was what I knew. But when I went to Cal, it was harsh. People were like, what? Like, I mean, there were less than 2% African Americans going to Cal at the time, right? Like, what are we doing, right? I became very involved politically. You know, how races lived in America, like, what's going on? And I have people actually say things to me about folks of color, right? My brother is Latino and Native, right? My siblings are African American. My parents are white. It's quite confusing. And I look Asian, but you know, I didn't grow up in an Asian family. So they were all kinds of like, oh, you can't be with us. You ain't Korean enough, girl. You know, like there was a lot of that going on. And where I found my solace was in Black and brown communities at Cal. Those were the communities that pulled me in. Those were the communities that said things to me. And so I want to point out a couple things on that picture so that you can see, because people are going to try to write the narrative about who I am, and I want to just tell you from the get, I have never been anything other than what I wrote to you in that essay and what's up here. And looking at, so I took this picture this morning. I'll be honest, I went down into the thing. This will come to my office. You'll be able to see it. It's just packed away. But look at this. Togetherness, difference is our strength. Dare to be, this is what I made. This is a vision board I made when I left Green Laney Institute, a multi-ethnic public policy advocacy institute, to come and work in California's community colleges because I had done work building UC Merced and seen how many prisons we had built in California since the 70s and knew we needed to do something. And where was democracy and education? In California's community colleges. I went to be a counselor at Chabot College, And this is what I made on the wall. This has traveled with me from every single job I have had. It has adorned and been the light. And sometimes I don't look at it enough. When I looked at it this morning, I was like, okay, here it says, what is a bindi? I learned about bindi's third eye, right? It's not our differences that divide us. It's our inability to recognize, accept, and celebrate those differences. I have the principle of emoja here. Y'all know those emoja principles? Your girl was rocking emoja principles back in the day. No, do you see this? Believe there are no limits, and then love. And there's a couple high heels there, I just want to say. So, but a lot of this is stuff that were given to me. What makes you stronger makes you beautiful. So I wanted to show you that authentically who I've been is just who I've been, right? And so what I saw when I was at Cal and what is thing is, again, the closure of all of these things gives only one thing, which is absolutely the carceral state, right? We are absolutely moving people into, and you can see it in the data. We don't have to talk about it. You know this. I don't need to explain it to you all. We are the antidote to that. We absolutely are. We have to do better. We have a responsibility. There is voice and power in the work that we're doing. And so I have felt compelled my entire life to do something about that, because when my brother came to me off a school bus as a preschooler and was wiping his skin, saying he wished he wasn't as dark as he was, there's a problem. When talking to my dad to say, no, he's going to get pulled over more times than you, Dad. I know you think love conquers all and it's like whatever. It's not really true. It's true, but when you get what I mean, I'm just saying, like, he thinks love was colorblind. And I'm like, bruh, it's not colorblind. I love you, but it's not colorblind. So school's always been my solace. So I found this article when we were going through stuff. I'm crying leaving school. I'm in the front page of the Daily Review in Hayward. And I'm 9 years old, and I'm crying because I don't want to leave at the last day of school. School is solace to people. It's to students. It's where I found myself. It's where and I have talked to more and more employees here who have come from our colleges, who have attended multiple of our colleges, and they found themselves here. They came back to work here, right? School is what? It's liberation. And I decided I was going to go back to education because, man, as Toni Morrison said, right, if you can't count, they can cheat you. If you can't read, they can beat you. Let me tell you, right? If we don't ever teach people to write their own stories, it's always going to be the narrative of somebody else's narrative. That's what we're doing here. That's what I'm doing here. Maybe not what you're doing. That's what I'm doing here is what I'm. So I've been working for a long time on creating liberatory and just colleges. And what I mean by this is I want to just talk about racial equity in terms of the definition that I use when I'm in the space and doing the work. And this is from years of working in the community. It is a process, okay? It's not an end. It is a process. Equity is on the road to racial equity, right? A process of eliminating racial disparities and improving outcomes for everyone. I want to just underscore everyone. It is the intentional and continual practice of changing policies, practice systems, and structures by prioritizing measurable change in the lives of people of color. That's who we serve, y'all. And when we're looking at our Mentimeter and our word cloud and we got processes and things like that that are what? The frustrations. Let's imagine what our students would say when they're thinking about it, right? How are we working towards racial equity? How are we creating liberatory and just colleges? And then I've been working for years around social justice, and I know many of you have as well. It is a vision. Racial equity is a road to social justice. It is a vision and transformation of society to eliminate racial hierarchies, right? It's about belonging and advancing collective liberation where all people have the dignity, resources, power, and self-determination to fully thrive. These are my kids. Funny pictures of them. I just like quickly, they'll probably like, I hope they don't see this. But my son's name is Justice. My daughter's name is Malia. It means peaceful in Hawaiian. My children's name are Justice and Peace. There is nothing else I want than to live a life of purpose and to take what has been gifted to me, which is what some people call house money. Ain't nobody thought you were gonna be here to meal, right? It's like playing with house, for those of you who gamble, playing with house money, right? Like, why are you playing small? These are my kids, Justice and Malia. So I have lived with a mantra, show love, for quite a while. It's basically something that I just have felt intrinsically. You saw it, actually, I wrote about it. I don't even know. These things kind of happen when I'm looking at myself in retrospect. And really, what I want to share is James Baldwin, right? I've talked to folks at Laney about this before, but Baldwin's sense that love takes off the mask that we fear we cannot live without, and we know we can't live within. We are wearing masks, folks, and this isn't the love that's like, oh my gosh, the touchy-feely love. This is the love that's about quest and daring and going forward and finding yourself in liberation, right? Being able to be fully your own person. That's the kind of love I'm striving for in myself, for a person who has always felt she's never been good enough. Because deep down, folks, that's what I struggle with every single day. I mean, we can start to talk about epigenetics, right, and all that stuff, how trauma lives within you. I think being abandoned when you're little, there's trauma that lives in you. When you don't look like your family, when everybody thinks you're something different, right? It is something that I carry with me. But I have pushed for the liberatory love that we're talking about. So I was the president of Laney, if anybody didn't know, and I know some people are like, oh, she's going to be biased toward Laney. Don't worry, I'm not going to be. I know some folks, but this pictorial was something I was asked to do for a leadership thing, and they were actually pretty upset with me because I actually didn't do a written. The question was, what keeps you up at night? And I did a pictorial representation. And they were like, well, this didn't really follow the assignment. And I'm like, well, I think it's pretty cool. But you can see it right here. A burning tower building. Oh my gosh. Nothing new, unfortunately. And I'm upset about it. Don't get me, I'm not belittling what's going on here. I just want to be clear that I understand the live reality of sort of what's happening on the ground. I'm not saying I have the answers today. I'm telling you I'm committed to figuring out what we can do, right? Look, if we can put it back up, so we are taking major budget cuts. You've heard about this. We just took a major budget cut, right? We just realized, right, that we budgeted a 2% COLA increase. It's now 7%, but we have to find the money somewhere. So that's a budget cut. We took a December, it was like hearing about it when I got here, I was like, oh, I remember this. We did the same thing when I was the president. $1.3 million cut to Laney College in December, at the end of the thing, having to work with constituents. That's what kept me up at night. Look at these angry faces. Oh, and then this is email, because that was the end of district-wide email, and everybody's upset, and people were like, it was like crazy making. But then there were things like our students. This is one where I saw in machine technology where they did design thinking, and students were actually solving a problem and designing ways for students in wheelchairs to actually play kickball. Our students are brilliant. Amazing design challenge. It was other things. So my quote here was, so many institutions in our society need reinventing. The time has come for a new dream. That's what being a revolutionary is, and that's Grace Lee Boggs. A revolutionary, right? These are some pictures of students throughout my career. Again, I went deep in the weeds. So when my mom used to tell me to clean my room, I would literally start to and I'd take out the drawers of all of my drawers and start dumping them out, making it far more messy. So you're gonna notice what I did. I was going through years of pictures, oh my gosh. So these are some of our students that I've had the impact of. Students have been my greatest teachers. They've been the ones who've taught me what it means to have gendered, inclusive restrooms. What it taught me about going through transformation to be more humanly human for themselves, shared their stories. These are students who also told me, what's free tuition? Free tuition doesn't matter to us, President Gilkerson. I'm so sorry. We can't afford to pay books and eat and transport and all these other things. Ain't nobody caring about the $46 a unit that you're trying to give us. This isn't helping us. And me and the whole administrative team were like, but we're doing so great. Nah. Those are the students who told me. Those are students who told me, the Chromebook you bought, it doesn't actually cover the software that I need, right? And it's all good intention, but it is the voices of our students that we have to listen to. These are students from Contra Costa College, and then this is Antoine. We went to Ghana together. He taught me about being a student parent. He has several children and a couple more on the way. Student worker, lived in her car, and we went to a CalWorks event. We wanted to do something really nice. I loved it. It was amazing that we wanted to take our students off campus and do beautiful things for them. But she was standing at the thing to pay for parking, and she's like, I don't have money for parking. And I was like, oh my gosh. See, it's like the little things that the students have gifted me with, these nuggets of information. Aisha there, love that picture. Was at Contra Costa College too, and then graduated from Laney. Loves here. So many lessons, right? And I couldn't put them all up. Tram, Yvonne, students, and then Terrence, obviously here. Terrence Williams, who was a major advocate for the work that we're doing around food insecurity and housing, and he lived in our tiny home, and he was homeless, and he had a very similar upbringing as me, and dared to share his story with me and go to Sacramento and advocate for students. How am I doing on time? Okay. So, this is Keith Welch. Keith was in his 50s, came back to school, had been disabled at work in an accident, and had this love for wanting to feed the community, wanted to go back, was in our culinary department. He was the Associated Student Government President, and man, I loved him. He built that Laney pantry, so I was up there the other day and so proud to see what's happened, but the legacy of what he started in a closet with the Associated Student Government, cooking every week, out in here, in the kitchen, cooking every week and passing out, he did it, and those of you who are here remember Keith. And Keith graduated. It was such a celebration, you see it there. One of the proudest moments for me, seeing him walk the stage, seeing him talk, tell his story. Keith got his job. He got the job he wanted. He got the job that he desired. He was working at a food kitchen as the chef in our community at one of the churches, doing the work, exactly what he'd built here, doing it. And then I got the news that Keith died of a heart attack. And broken, like, how? He gave me so many things. I've become a statewide advocate on affordability, food, and housing insecurity because of Keith and because of the other students at Laney who have shared their stories with me. It's our job to take it forward, right, and do more and be about, right, that peace. And Keith has that for me. And then for those of you who don't know these folks, I think it's always hard to lose people. So Stephen Corlett is wearing the Laney Love shirt. He's over here. And I'll just say a couple things. When I got to this college, I would see faculty pushing carts. Remember, I became the president in 2017, pushing carts to classrooms with what? Projectors on them and computers. And they were checking them out upstairs, pulling them down, taking them out, taking them to the classroom. It is the 21st century, and students in OUSD have better classrooms than we had at Laney. I was like, what is going on? Why would they want to come here? And Stephen was the head of the facilities committee, and he was brilliant, and caring, and kind, and generous, and hardworking, and so committed to making sure that Laney facilities and that we held people accountable, that we worked together. But he worked with me. We worked together. We looked at the bond. We said, how are we going to rechange this information and these things and do all this so that we can actually fund classroom refreshes at least? And we did that together with this community, with their willingness through participatory governance. We changed our bond list. We did these things. We went through a process, and we identified that we wanted to modernize our classrooms. And then we went, and what did we do? We did it. We actually did it. And we had to change structure. And I got to see Roxanne Leaf here earlier today, and I love Roxanne. Roxanne used to be the AV technician. Roxanne believed in me and us enough to trust the process and say, we're not going to eliminate your job, but your job is outdated. How do we help you get into the job that is for the 21st century and for what we need? Let's not just hold on to a position because you're worried about it. Trust us to figure out what we're doing. And she did. And I got to see her today. I mean, like, Stephen gave me that gift. Stephen, who, when he was diagnosed with cancer, worked still. And then finally, when he got so sick that he couldn't work any longer, he still was on the facilities committee, and he still went to the district facilities committee. This man was committed to the end of his breath. I left Laney. I'm going to tell you a story about all of them. But I left Laney, and it was a really hard decision. I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But I want to say to you that Stephen and I stayed in touch. It was very hard for me to tell him that I was leaving Laney when I was leaving. But he understood. It was sort of like we had been like partners. And he understood, though. And I want to thank my colleagues here, because Stephen and I stayed in touch, but as he was getting iller and iller, it was time. His wife had called. It was time he was getting close to the end. And the faculty reached out and said, Tammeil, Stephen wants you to come with us to see him. So I was like, I remember where I was the night before. I was like, couldn't wait to see him. And he passed that morning, and I never got to say goodbye. This is why I do the work. People like that who give their last life breath with cancer riddled in your body to care enough about coming to a district facilities meeting so that you can continue to advocate for this college. Like, what the heck? That's the message. That's the gift. That's the thing I'm bringing forward. And then there's Renee Rivas, who passed right when I was leaving. Renee was like the heartbeat. And you've seen all of these things, the heartbeat of student services. You could ask him anything and do anything and whatever, and it was out of the blue. It rocked the community. You can still see it today. Tonight, there's a fundraiser. I hope you will help support the scholarship that the classified are doing for Renee. Renee, I mean, it could be, right, Dr. Lewis? It could be nothing, everything. And this man would walk you to where you need to go. He would help you. He would stay. He was so committed. This was his home. These were his students. This was his family. And he also died way too young. It broke me. Philippa, who was on this, I remember getting the call So I shared the James Baldwin quote with you earlier. I shared that when I first became the president of Laney, and Philippa came to me directly, and that's when we began our friendship. She wrote to me often. We talked a lot about what we wanted to do, but there's a shared love of Baldwin and Morrison, and just this sense that she never quite felt like she was seen here, felt like she wanted to do stuff but was an outsider. And so we were like, how do we get you in the fold? How do you start doing things? She started doing stuff with Guided Pathways. She started doing more projects. She just dropped one day. I was literally standing in the bathroom at the district office when Rudy Beslikoff called me on the phone and told me that Philippa had died. And broke me open again. And I want to read you something that I wrote when we did the memorial for Philippa, because I think it's important. So in times like this, like many others of us, we've moved more deeply to connect with the things Philippa loved and have tried to delight in the memories. I turned to Baldwin to help me understand. In The Fire Next Time, he writes, life is tragic simply because the earth turns and the sun inexorably rises and sets, and one day for each of us, the sun will go down for the last time. Perhaps the whole root of our trouble, the human trouble, is that we will sacrifice all the beauty of our lives, will imprison ourselves in the totems and the crosses and the blood sacrifices, in the steeples and the mosques, the races, the armies, the flags, the nations, in order to deny the fact of death, the only fact we have. It seems to me that one ought to rejoice in the fact of death. We ought to decide, indeed, to earn one's death by confronting with passion the conundrum of life. One is responsible for life. It is the small beacon in that terrifying darkness from which we will come and to which we shall return. Baldwin's words were solace to me, but they were also at the same time, right, a call to action. What were you doing with your life, Tammeil Gilkerson? Are you in service of the things that maybe I didn't even know intrinsically had written about when I was going to go off to college? And so these are the gifts. And I changed my life in a lot of ways. I won't get into all that. We have lots of time to get to know each other. But I will just stop to say here, another Baldwin quote that I think is important in this kind of moment is, the price one pays for pursuing any profession or calling is an intimate knowledge of its ugly underside. There's an ugliness here. Can I just call it out? So I love this college. I love this district. I live in this district. As Mark so ably said, I drove to Russia every day. Leaving here was a difficult thing. It was like being in an abusive relationship is kind of how I felt about it. It was where my light and what I thought my life work was supposed to be couldn't be that because I didn't know what I was doing, and honestly, I was like brand new. I was like a new president. I'd never been a president before, and I was just being myself, and myself for some folks wasn't good, right? That's cool, like I get that. That's part of the learning process, right? But it became where folks were like, when I found the investigation after years of being investigated, it was, she slept with the chancellor, that's how she got her job, the way she dresses, the way she talks. These are the things that several years of my life were spent being investigated about. And I'm not going to go deep into the thing, but it was at the pain and the core of me that folks would think, like, really? Like, all this work I've done in my career will be measured down to you think I slept with somebody? And they actually said, I went to dinner with him once when I accepted the job, and once I went to his house with 100 people, and there wasn't even enough food that I didn't even get anything. I actually had to go to the drive-thru at Taco Bell afterwards down the street by my house because there wasn't enough food. But people wanted to spend more time caring about the way I dressed, the way I talked, and thinking about who I was sleeping with than actually about the work that we were trying to do together. That's what they want us to do. And I just couldn't do it anymore. And so I got a lifeline, right? Where people were saying to me, come be at our college. We want for you to come here. And a place that I cared about deeply, Evergreen Valley College, who had lost their president in sort of a scandal, left the community the second time out for a college president. Their chancellor came to me, and I was like, maybe I should. It was the most difficult decision I made. But I'll tell you, it was an important one. It was an important one because I saw, first of all, hands down, bet money on this team every single day. I love Evergreen. I love San Jose Evergreen Community Colleges. I love that district. I love the people. But there is a thing about this community who will work for anything, who will it's like the gente will be down for the community, are willing to put their lives on the line. How do we make it easier for you to do it? That's what I'm about, right? How do we kind of figure those things out? But I'll tell you, I was traumatized by being here. And so I really was. I mean, and some people who knew me, it was the worst. I've had some bad moments. It was bad. So, I want to talk about a couple things I've learned. And I'm grateful for Evergreen because amazing things. You work with people that get done. And I think about the things that I did here with people. We did amazing things together. There are amazing opportunities when you collaborate and are working together. So one of the things I've learned over this career is that you can hold two things at once. We are too binary, folks. We want to put you in a box. I'm going to put you in a box. I'm going to put you in a box. Oh, Louie's that. That's how Louie is. We're going to keep Louie that way forever. Hello, Dr. Van Hook. Good to see you. Nice. Right? We can hold two things at once. We can have high standards and also be disappointed. We can want our students to be better and do this, right? We can hold two things at once. I can be perfectly imperfect and still be having the intention to try to do it. Why do we castigate ourselves so quickly? Why do we do this to each other? They're already doing it to Black and brown communities and to our communities all the time, to women, to queer folks. Like, what are we doing in our own house, in our own home? You can hold two things at once. I can love you and I can be frustrated with you. Think about my children. Okay, come on now, right? Fear and learning. Let me tell you, thank you, Mark Razan. I think you actually demonstrated something today that I think is really important for those of you who are here at the beginning of his talk. He said, and I feel this too, because I'm super worried about this, because I don't know how people are going to receive what I just said today, right? Because it'll be capsulated or whatever, or people will, oh, I know she didn't. You know, it's okay, because I'm willing to stand in the light and the truth of who I am, and it'll be what it is. But Mark said something today, which is like, I'm trying to use the right language. I just want you to know this is my perspective. It's like, it's those kind of things. Family. We have gotten into a place in education we are not allowing people to be educated, to sit and talk on either side of the thing, to understand conversation and discussion and learning and all that stuff is actually, what is it? It's the lifeblood of figuring out what you learn and how you make an opinion. We cannot hold and encapsulate and not talk about certain things, right? Who should be teaching ethnic studies? Let's have the conversation. Should white people be able to teach ethnic studies? Let's talk about what we really need to talk about versus talking about the hiring process, right? Let's talk about other things that we value rather than making it about something else and not ever getting to what we want to talk about, right? We got to stop being fearful of our own learning. We are learner-centered institutions. I expect all of you to be learning. And today I learned something from Mark. I don't understand half of what he said, but I am learning something from Mark. And I remember going to Stephen Corlett. He had published his dissertation, and I went to the chemistry thing where I was so confused, but I was like, I'm here, I'm with you. And he would drop off chemistry books, because for the district, for all my chemistry faculty, the ones that I would always sit in the district-wide chemistry one, because I love that crew when we were doing chemistry assessment. But they would always give me the books, and I'm like, I have no idea. I was terrible, but I love you. Keep going. So, all right, next one, something I've learned. Building our own tables. Folks, this was not made for us. This is right? Do I need to do a history lesson on the California community colleges? Right? We will do it at another point. I won't do it today, but this wasn't built for us. This wasn't built for the students that we're serving, and it's not built for the students that we were serving in the 70s or the ones we're serving now in 2024. And I got to tell you, the students are telling us different things. They want to be in person. My students are telling me that at Evergreen. What are you talking about? Like, I can't learn online. I'm distracted in my house, right? Like, there are things that I think, I watched my children learn during the pandemic. Like, what? They are actually telling us what they want, and sometimes we're not listening to them. I forget what my prompt was. Can I put that screamer? Sorry. I got off on a little tangent. Sorry. Let me see. Can I? Okay. So here's the thing. This is the other thing. And I love you. And I'm going to say this, and y'all going to be mad. I love participatory governance. I do. I believe more voices at the table are important. That is why I worked at each institution to help support classified professionals getting involved in the understanding what's going on. And our students, do you know they sit at participatory governance meetings and they're like, we don't even know what you're saying. We don't stop and spend the time to get people up to speed so that they can, and we're talking about the same issues over and over and over and over and over again. So I asked the question, if it was not built for us, why are we trying to continue to do the same thing? Why are we continuing to try to say, oh, this governance no. So the question is going to ask is, what do we actually want to achieve, and how can we come to shared understanding? I want to thank Matthew Goldstein for being willing to partner in this conversation, Roberto Gonzalez. How are we going to rethink this? Does it have to be what that is? I don't think so. Build our own tables. So liberation and forgiveness. I really got to just hit on this really quick. So I grew up in church. I sang in the choir. I sang in the gospel choir at UC Berkeley, Young Inspiration Gospel Choir. And for those of you at COA, Professor Henderson was my teacher at UC Berkeley. He just retired from LMC. I think I perfunctorily thought what forgiveness was, and I'm also this thing where I'm like, oh, God is listening to me, so I can't, I don't know, I have this relationship with if I don't say it out loud, God doesn't know, and then I'm like, oh my God, God's omnipotent, so he does know, and yeah, it was just this thing that was happening throughout my growing up childhood. But I'll say something is I never knew what forgiveness was. And so remember how I told you that Philippa and Stephen and Keith and Renee and my father, I didn't tell you, but my father passed when I was here at Laney. Losing all of them made me think, what are you doing with your life? What have you done? It's so short. You could die tomorrow. What are you doing? I really, deeply felt that. And so I began to make changes for myself and say, how are you going to show up as a person? What do you want your legacy? And I saw that on the screen. What do you want your legacy to be? There's nothing in the game more, folks. I don't care about being the title I just want us to be able to do the good work that I know you all want to do. How do we get out of our own way? How do we how do we go together to advocate? How do we think through these things? But I'll tell you, I had a relationship with somebody that I deeply, deeply loved. And all of a sudden, they were gone. I didn't hear from them. Just gone. And for a person who's been abandoned, right, that feels terrible. It's like the ghosting, right? It was really, but it went on longer than I assumed it would happen. And it went on, and it went on, and it went on. And I could barely, sort of get up. But I got up every day, and I went to work, and I put on a smiley face, and I did all these things, and I kept doing it, kept doing it, kept doing it. And then finally, after about, I don't know, over a year and a half, I kind of like started to be myself again, right? Like I was like, okay, you're not terrible, you didn't mess everything up, it's like not these things. And out of the blue, I get a text message that says, I'm gonna have brain surgery. I haven't told you. I've been dealing with this for cancer, and I didn't want to tell you, and I was gonna shoulder it by myself. And this is somebody like I deeply love, right? And my life was like a mess for a long time. And so I could do two things. One, right, it reminded me of that fervor I felt in that moment around the death of people that meant a great deal to me. But what it also did was there was this moment when I was talking to this individual where I was like, I forgive you. I actually have never really, honestly, in a lot of ways, really forgiven somebody. Like at the core, I can't tell you, you guys, it was the most liberating thing to lay down what I had been carrying for over a year and like lay it down. Like literally, I know where I was. I was like on the corner of Lincoln and Monterey in Oakland, standing outside on a corner, and I just laid the burden down. And I tell you, it was the first time I have felt peace in my life in a long time, because there was no judgment or whatever. It was just love at the end. That I could be about recriminations, and you didn't call me, and why didn't you tell me, and blah, 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 right? Like, but it was just not, the time was not. And maybe this comes with age, you know? Maybe this comes with age, but it was something important. And so, can you go back to my slide? So, I want to just say, anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Y'all feel me? How many of you are holding on to anger about something? How many of you are, come on now, because I've already heard it. I heard it in my office. I heard that y'all are holding on and harboring things. We have to forgive each other, and we have to decide that we want to do it, and we have to want to move on. We have to stop saying the same thing over and over and over and over again, and we have to be willing to check each other in fairness and love, and we got to build, right, community to be able to have safety in doing it, but we will not move forward as a district. It is not a Tammeil thing. This is an us thing. It is not going to be the chancellor who's going to do it. It's going to be all of you. You have to lay the burden down. I know it's hard. You are traumatized. I'm traumatized. We have been through trauma. I absolutely do that. And we would need to do trauma work together for ourselves, because it seeps down to the communities we serve. They hear you. They see you. They absolutely do. They are like your children. So we have to get to liberation. I know you want it. All those things you said on the Mentimeter, you want. I want it for us. Liberation does not happen without forgiving. It does not happen. And so, this Mary Aller, what do I plan to do with this life? Wage love. It's not show love anymore. I am all about waging love. I am radical. Let's do it. It's about love. We're going to center it. I'm going to center it for myself. It is about how do I get fed myself? How do I try to show up? And waging love means that I'm going to mess up sometimes. You're not going to like me some days. I get it. I'm going to have to make the hard decision. I get that. I absolutely do. But I want you to know I am nothing more than what I just shared with you today. I have no ulterior motives. I'm not trying to get anywhere or do anything or whatever. I have a house. You know what I mean? Like, I could make it if I didn't do this. I could. And I didn't want to do this. I'll be honest. People called me and called me and called me. I had somebody on the ground, on the floor in a restaurant, begging on their knees. And I was like, please get up. I had individuals calling and asking me. And I felt so broken and at the same time holding two things at once, in love with this place. It's the weirdest thing. I know you know what I'm talking about, right? So let me tell you what happened. That person I told you about is doing okay. And in July, so this is a while ago, in July, we went on a trip. See, fairly sick, but I was able to find we went to a rummage thing in this book. It's good poems. It's a compilation, and it's from the Writer's Almanac. And so I decided I was going to read a poem each day. Random. I believe that the universe is calling each of us. I believe it's calling me. My chakras are aligned, y'all, since I put this little thing on. I just, like if you are aligned with sort of what it is, and if you can bring up the screen now. And so I wasn't going to apply for the job. I'm really clear. Evergreen is an amazing college. It's a community-funded district. I got to tell you, the facilities are ridiculous. I mean, really, it looks like a four-year college or university. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous institution, and there are amazing people there, and I love that community. That's where I got my start. I'm forever grateful to them. So coming from here to that, but I'll tell you, on July, I looked at 26th, I think this application was due July 30, something around then. The poem that I got that day was this, Sometimes by Sheena Pug. Sometimes things don't go, after all, from bad to worse. Some years, muscadel faces down frost. Green thrives, the crops don't fail. Sometimes a man aims high, and all goes well. A people sometimes will step back from war, elect an honest man, decide they care enough that they can't leave some stranger poor. Some men become what they were born for. Sometimes our best efforts do not go amiss. Sometimes we do as we meant to. The sun will sometimes melt a field of sorrow that seemed hard frozen. May it happen for you. We stay in the negative so much, right? We're always like feeding that beast of the like, what's wrong, the frustration, I'm not good enough, I'm like all of these things. And I was like, girl, the universe has spoken to you. Sometimes it can work. Sometimes you should bet on it, right? Like, who else, when else, what are you gonna do? And so I put in my application because I believe in us. I believe that this can be the story. Can I get my slide back? Thanks. So I got announced as being selected. I want to again thank the trustees for the honor of the selection. And what was weird about it, in this like kind of weird way, is there was this huge announcement that I had been selected, but I hadn't done the contract negotiations yet, right? So I was like, let me stay off social media and like let me be, because you never know what's going to happen. And, but I'll tell you, congratulations. I'll tell you, I was in the Oakland airport getting on a plane, and people were crying. People I didn't even know. Dr. Gilger, oh my God, oh, right? Lots of genuine people were like, congratulations, we're so excited. But I'll tell you, I also got a lot of like, condolences, like the side swipe, like in the subject line of an email, it'd say congratulations, and then in the body would be like, or condolences. Well, you know how it is. I'm like, don't you talk about my home, right? I hadn't even inked my contract. I was like, don't you talk about my people? You ain't saying stuff about my schools. Absolutely not. I will not have it. We will not have it, right? No, absolutely not. So I am like dedicated to we can if, and I want to say we. Please see this. We can if we. This again, it cannot be Tammeil. It is not Tammeil alone. This is you. You have agency in the spaces that you're in to help us. We're going to help corral it, but it is absolutely the we. But we can. And this is from my good friend. Gave this to me. It was on his wall. And I love it because this is actually what I'm thinking. But we can if we resource it by. We can if we access the knowledge of. We can if we mix together this or that. We can if we substitute it for. We can actually do these things, y'all. I absolutely believe we can. But we have to have the conversations that are on the outside of the thing and stop skirting around it. If we want certain things, then let's talk about it. But it comes at a cost. The budget is the budget. Let me tell you, 24, 25, fiscal plateau, that's where we're going to be. We have to decide what we want to do. We have asked the voters to support us time and time again, right? We have to decide for ourselves and take agency. And not everybody's going to like the decisions, but you need to be involved in it. You need to be with the best interest of if we can, if we do what. And then allow us, like learner-centered institutions, to try it out. And we can iterate, right? Let's not let perfect be the enemy of good. Like, let's not the progress, right? Like, let's get moving. So, okay. So, one of the things, and I'm going to show you this really quick. And I'm doing 10. Okay, I'm doing good, actually. Okay, good. Oh, but my activity. But we'll figure it out. Okay. So, this has always been my problem. I have a colleague who was at Evergreen Valley College when I was a dean. She worked as an admin assistant in a particular area, an amazing woman, but she was abused. She was physically abused constantly. She'd come to work with bruises on her faces. You could see it on her body when she was like holding sort of things and doing things. And she was giving and hardworking so hard. And she lived in a trailer on a pig farm. And she drove a truck, and at the top of her truck was an ornament, a hood ornament, that was a pig with wings. And she was like, if pigs can fly, Tammeil. And so she gifted me, with both of my children, a pigs that fly. So you hit the thing, the wings flap. And if you've ever heard this saying, oh, when pigs fly, that'll happen. When pigs fly, Peralta will figure it out. When pigs fly, right, that board will get it together. Oh, when pigs fly, the faculty will stop doing, oh, the classified, right? Oh, those administrators. When pigs fly. You know what, folks? We doing some flying pig awards. So you wait to hear about it. We're going to have it out. But this is a time for us to come together. This is the time for you to uplift your colleagues and say, Chancellor, we're going to submit a name of somebody, and we're going to give it out monthly. Probably start in February or March. I'm going to be working with Mark Johnson to get information out on it and a submission form. But this is for acts across our district of things that we were like, they never said we could do it, and absolutely we did. Absolutely, we are going to tell our story. We are going to, change the narrative about what they've said. And honestly, Kathy, who gave this to me, when I came back to Evergreen, she had moved up positions to a project specialist position working with students. And then what'd she do? She ended up electing and going on and retiring. What a gift. These people have given me gifts. So let me see my slides. We never know how our small activities will affect others through the invisible fabric of our connectedness. In this exquisitely connected world, it is never a question of critical mass. It is always about critical connections. I have learned in this work that the ethic of love, that centering the type of connection we have to each other is going to matter more. We're going to do more, whether there's 3 of us who are connected to each other than everybody being together, right? It is about these critical connections, and I've been gifted along my career with people who've said, we want to work with you. I am not standing here except for on the shoulders of every single person and many of you in this room who allow me the opportunity to work alongside you. This is not a solo endeavor, nor has it ever been in my career. And so these are just pictures of places and people who've gifted me with these things. I've learned lessons from these folks over and over again about what it means to be in community, what it means, what's possible, where we can go, what we can do, how we can build love. This is from colleges and places that I've been, that haven't been here from before. These are pictures and faces of people. I don't have everybody. This is like what I had on my phone. This is what I was like down the rabbit hole last night. I'm like, oh, I'm going to forget somebody. But this is what I'm talking about. This is the gifts that we give each other. That made me laugh. Or Donald, your face on that picture. Sorry. But these are like folks who've gifted me with love and opportunity and a place to ask questions and figure out what we're going to do. And some have stayed and some have gone, but we have continued to do this work, continue to think about where we'll be, from food distributions to, you know, the first queer prom that we did in this district to, you know, awards and doing things, working with Classified, being some of these, yeah, it was like going down memory lane. So I want these for you. I stand on the shoulders, and I'm here today for every single person who is willing to work alongside me. There's nothing in the game except what I told you before. The only one I want is to make them proud, to make them say, I work with Tammeil Gilkerson, and she came to work every day and tried to live a legacy that we all want for our communities and our students. And so may your choices reflect your hopes and not your fears. And I'm going to play this video. I want to thank, I should smile. I just saw myself. I'm like, that was terrible. It was like a downbeat. Nobody, by the way, okay, never mind. I won't say it. Okay. And this is my wish for all of us. And I want to thank our marketing department. I gave them an idea of what I wanted, a song that sort of spoke to me about today. And I said, I want the colleges represented. And this is what Mark, Marcus, and Faiza came up with. So my appreciation.
You can have all the money in your hands, all the possessions anyone can ever have, but it's all worthless treasure. True worth is only measured not by what you got, but what you got in your heart. You can have everything, but what does it mean? It all means nothing if you don't stand up for something. You can't just talk the talk, you got to walk that walk. Yes, you do. It all means nothing if you don't stand up for something. And I stand up for you. And I stand up for you. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. You do the best that you can do. Then you can look in the mirror, proud of who's looking back at you. Define the life you're living, not by what you take, but what you're giving. And if you bet on love, there's no way you'll ever lose. Take a stand, make a stand for what's right. It's always worth the fight. It all means nothing if you don't stand up for something. You can't just talk the talk, you got to walk that walk. Yes, you do. It all means nothing if you don't stand up for something. And I stand up for you, self-respect, dignity. If that's all you got, then you got all you need. And without that, you don't have a thing. Oh, no, no.
Rise up, love, lift your hands. I stand with you cause I understand. Ain't here to judge, just to take a stand. The greater plans, the creator's plan. Let's all rise like the day began. Reach out and touch with the Savior's hand. On rock we stand like his native land. Let the ways of love be the ways of man.
If you don't stand for something, you can't just talk the talk. You got to walk that walk. Yes, you do. It all means nothing if you don't stand up for something.
So I coined, I was thinking as I was starting, a new mantra for us. So passion, purpose, possibilities. That's what's ahead of us now and on this way. And I know we're out of time, and I want to just tell you, the last part of today, you were given a ribbon. In many cultures across countries, they take ribbons and they do something called wishing trees. So I want to thank Tina Vasconcelos and folks and Etheria Smith and folks who helped me. But we went to Home Depot and bought these trees and picked them up and put them on a cart and pushed them out and brought them here and decorated them. These are living trees. They will move with us to the district office, and hopefully I can get them planted. Those are for you to put your wish on. We're about to hit the Lunar New Year. In many Asian cultures, they do wishes of gratitude, and they place them on the tree for the new year in hopes, right? They do this in the UK. They do it in other countries. So I'm asking you, actively, there are pens around, to write a word or two about your wish for us in this community. Gift us with your wish, what you are committed to, what your passion, purpose, and the possibilities are. Wish it for us. Place it on the tree. I'm going to move it to the district office. I want to share it with the board and the community. And I will want to thank you again for the time. It's been an honor. It's a privilege to be here. I am so grateful to serve alongside you. I can't wait to meet many of you that I haven't met in person. And I am hope-filled and joy-filled and grateful. Thank you so much.